Okay, the recording has started. Can you guys all hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. And guys, when you're not talking, and if we don't, we'll try to hold off any questions till the end. We'll try to keep the session very short. I think we have 3 parts to the agenda today. Basic.
I guess I'm on to.
All right, Raju, the floor is yours, man. If you want to do the intro on why we are doing this, you do it, and then I'll take it on.
I'm just hitting that left. Okay. Let me see. We have 38 participants. That's really great. Thank you everyone for joining the call. So sorry, excuse me for the background noise. Yeah. So the reason for we are doing this particular session is to ensure that everyone who is going to be or aspiring to be an umpire for the Little ELM Cricket Association Fall League, either orange ball or tape ball, it doesn't matter, but either of them, if anyone wants to be wanted to do an umpiring, then we wanted to ensure that all of you are aware of basic umpiring rules which we had set. And then that is what powers umpires have and what decisions you would take, and then what are the right do's and don'ts, or wrongs and rights as per the cricket rules. And also there are set of rules we have outlined in the bylaws. I think most of you have access to it. If you're not, you can check with your SPOC, that is either captain or vice captain, whoever. They can share the document with you guys. We have set of rules which are basically on top of ICC rules, which is default. We have written set of word written rules. We wanted to walk all of those rules with you guys to ensure that all of you have a basic understanding of those, so that you can handle any scenario on field by yourself without being worried about it. And then you know what powers you have as an umpire, and then what to do in case if it is beyond your resolution or their conflict resolution over there. So basically, that is an idea. And there are incidents happened in the previous matches or tournaments we have conducted, and luckily there weren't anything to the core physical altercation kind of thing. But we have added several more rules and then altered our bylaws to ensure that we wanted to ensure that this is safety, security, and then spirit of the game takes the highest priority than anything else. So Nagesh will walk us through on the basic umpiring rules, and then once he's done with that, I will take over to quickly run through on the bylaws. And just an FYI, all bylaws which I'm going to run through, everything is been copied from whatever bylaws I had end up composing. So sorry, I had to rush. Yeah.
One question. So is this only for the umpires which are assigned from the team, or anyone can do the umpiring? Like, if there are any registration, or like how does it work?
Yeah.
So the basic qualification is if you or anyone from your team would like to do an umpiring, either as part of your scheduled umpiring for your team, or volunteer umpiring on behalf of some other team because as an hired umpire, irrespective of both of those, in both of these conditions, the person must attend this session to be qualified to take an umpiring duty.
Okay.
I think the answer to you straightforward is yes, right? Whether you are actually sourcing an umpire, we hope to provide only umpires who have gone through this seminar, or whether you are sending somebody from your team, at least you can prepare a cheat sheet out of this so that they can be prepared just in case something goes wrong. The biggest thing that we are trying to avoid is, local officials getting called, people getting hurt. We also don't want, what we find in Little ELM is that there are a lot of little young baseball kids playing in the side courts, We want to make sure we follow safety guidelines. We also want to make sure that the kids are not watching us do something that is not motivational for them. Like avoid, if you find people smoking, or if you find public urination, that kind of stuff. We want to make sure that everybody is qualified, and we want to be a good community citizens. Part of this umpiring is to actually make sure that not just go through the basics. All of us know the cricket rules. I don't want to bore you guys with a lot of cricket rules, but I will give you a few pointers into how to look at different things, and then we will make it very specific to the things you have to do if you are a part of Little ELM and umpiring. What needs to happen, just in case, even against our best wishes or best planning, things may still go wrong on the field. Then what do you do? Okay, all right, make sense? That said, if nothing, I'm going to get started. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, and also request teams to hold your questions and queries till the end if you can. That will be of a great help, so that we can quickly run through on all the slides, and then we can take up the questions towards the end.
Yeah, and also one of this at the end, I'll also help people whoever are left over to register as services umpire, and if they ever want to provide umpiring services for the whatever price that they would like to do, then you can actually go. If there is somebody who's actually requesting umpire because nobody from their team, you can put a request in, and you can get an umpire who's certified. Okay, all right, if that makes sense. All right, so those are our 3 agenda points for today, and I'll, without any delay, it's already 13 minutes, so I do want to keep this to an hour, and so that everybody of us can go. We have a work day tomorrow. I just don't want anybody to to waste their time. Okay, all right, thanks. The first thing is, one of the words Raju used was spirit of cricket. If you ever, Raju, if just text me just in case you will lose my voice or anything like that, right? Okay. Because I'll be just going as an extempore, as you said, and we'll go through there. The first thing is I wanted to cover the spirit of the game, right? The first and foremost, I want to take out the misnomer that the umpires are responsible for all things on the ground. No, it's the responsibility of the captains to ensure and uphold the game. Umpires are there as an escalation and to avoid to judge it. It's not their job to continue to tell the captains to be done. So one of the first things that I want to make sure everybody understands is, if the captains are in any captains are in this, the biggest role of spirit of cricket is actually belonging to the captains, to make sure their teams follow the rules and they uphold the spirit of the game. Fair play, unfair play, that's the sole purpose of an umpire. If they see something other than just giving out 4s, 6s out, whatever, making the decisions, but to ensure outside the rules what's fair and what's unfair, because there is always some level of subjective decision. Everything is not a rule. As simple as a wide can be debated, as simple as an edge can be debated, as simple as a run out can be debated. Everything can be debated. So the idea is that the judgment, the umpires are there to make sure that the game is fair and the call was fair based upon everything that they've seen and they've heard on that ground. The last piece, right? What I want to make sure everybody understands is that there is no place for violence or abuse in cricket. I don't care whether it is verbal, physical, what type of it is. I know people pride. There's a fine line between taunting a player. I mean, just I don't want to use the word, but there's people cross their lines when they start verbally abusing the batsman, verbally abusing, interfering in the play, or even unruly appealing, right? Just appealing for everything that goes on in the ground. So in all of these circumstances, right, it's the job of the captains to control their teams. It's the job of the umpires to advise the team that their play is moving from fair to an unfair when they see excessive use of any of this, right? The biggest bottom line on the ground, right? the captains and the umpires set the tone for the game. Nobody else sets the tone for the game, because the two captains are responsible for the teams, and the umpire is responsible to make sure the game finishes with a good spirit and finishes competitively. Right. And all of that is a big lecture, but at the end, this is a simplified way of saying what is the spirit of the game, right? It starts with showing respect for opponents, showing respect for your teams, showing respect for the captain, understanding umpires and their role. They're here to conduct the game, not to take sides. Make sure that any safety rules that are in place, that are put in place by the board, but that are put in place by local, or even common sense, right? Kids are playing out in the field. Let's make sure that the ball doesn't hit them. Let's send some players to watch it. Things like that is what the spirit of the game is, not just to go there, play, throw trash, and come home, right? And the basic thing that I'd always tell people is that follow the scouting principle, right? Leave no trace. Make sure that after the game, you left the place as good as it belongs, and you let other people use the field, use that ground space for what they're supposed to be doing. What's not spirit of the game is arguing by the umpire on every action or doing gestures, I don't agree, and whatever. Abusing language, even though you're thinking you're intimidating the batsman, there is a better way to do it, not using abusing language, right? Cheating, tampering, making noise, distracting the opponents, intentionally interfering with the play, or excessive appealing, just appealing for everything that goes on out there, right? These are things that are not considered fair, and will show you how the umpires can take action in these circumstances if they do see it, right? Our goal with the spirit of the game is basically to remember that we play for pleasure. We are not playing for money. We are not playing for something. We play for pleasure, and we are trying to make sure the game is enjoyable and it's competitive day for all who are coming in or taking the time and playing. Right. This is one of the most important things I tell everybody, and my career started with American Airlines, and that the CEO at the time said one thing: if the first plane goes off on time, then I avoid delays. If the first plane is delayed by 30 minutes, that means 6 flights in the day are delayed. That was CEO Robert Crandall, right? He was the CEO when I joined the company, right? So if you remember that, right, the game's tone starts way before the game starts, right? So make sure that there is a toss. Make sure there is the umpires that are out there. Make sure that the teams have minimum of 8. They're ready to go, right? Captains, right? There are times when the umpires don't show up. They are late. I mean, Raju bailed me out this weekend because I just was not, I didn't pay attention to the schedule, right? But things do happen against our best wishes. So if they're not there, take control. Captains, you're trying to conduct a fair game because you're responsible for it too. You can get the toss started, you can get the game prepared, and hopefully they show up. But at least it's an all party thing, right? But when everybody understands, your team understands what has to happen for the game, the opponent team's captain is equally passionate and he knows, and the umpires are passionate and they follow the simple things to trying to start the game on time, and they set the tone. I think most of the times the games typically finish without any major incident. Okay. Now let's get into a little bit of umpiring, right? I think this is the part, right? You can see the line of the stump, leg stump, middle stump, and sometimes people try to put the bat in the middle of the 2 stumps, and they can ask you for whatever, that is what it is. But that's not what I'm trying to communicate using this slide, right? Carry a chalk. I have seen players who go on the mat and they're trying to hit the bat on the mat so that there is a dip there so that they can understand what the leg stump is. Well, trust me, if 10 of you guys do it, that mat is going to get torn up, right? We see a lot of that. I mean, we have to be very cautious about this, right? The idea there is carry a chalk, carry something, make sure that you're protecting the field that's out there and your actions are not leading to damaging the pitch. The other thing is don't keep on asking the same thing because you forgot the thing, right? Maybe there is a tape out there that you can stick, whatever you can do it, right? But it will be considered wasting time. And in all of these circumstances, the umpires have the right to say, nah, continue to play. I gave you the thing multiple times. I'm not going to keep doing it forever. Okay. That's the big point of that, right? The next one is, you guys can read it. I'm going to leave this in for a while. These are the standard signals that are used to show. These are the very common ones: wide, no ball, buys, there is no leg buys in here. You'll see it later. Right. And different signals that are pretty common to the game, right? If the fielding team has some equipment or something they have left on the ground, a helmet or whatever, or even in some cases leaving a bottle in such a way that it hits. Summer, I think, there is some relaxation to those rules. Then ball hits that, you can claim, and the umpire can declare 5 penalty runs. That's how that works. Some of the signals that are rarely used, right, is signal a dead ball when the ball is, and there are some rules for dead balls I'll go through later. Short run in the shot when the run is short, right? And these are there. But the idea of this one is that one of the controversies that I always see is that there is confusion when the end of the over, because it's not a norm anymore to declare end of the over like we used to do in the past. So here is where the umpire's judgment calls comes into play. Did the batsman start walking to the non-striker because we change ends after every because he assumed the over is out, right? In case of fair play conditions, right? If the play is really dead and then they're just walking across, then the umpire has the right to say no. In fair play, he can go back and bat because he was just coming and the over is over and the leg umpire started walking or whatever be the case. It has to be very judgmental. But if the guy was trying to take a run and he decides to then start walking, that's not right. He needs to go back and ground his bat. If he has not done that, clearly he can be got out, right? So the idea of this slide is that even when everything looks clear, it's not that clear. The art of fair play is understanding the intent of the batsman, understanding the intent of the fielder, and if the intent aligns to the rule, then declare the batsman out or not out. Okay. And the other thing that I wanted to make sure is that this will come when I'm going over the no balls and stuff like that. But there are.
Can you make it full screen, please, Nagesh?
Sure. I don't know how to do that, but I will try.
Oh, then it's fine.
Okay. Give me one.
Try F11.
F11. This is slides.google.com, right?
You can use the slideshow button.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Okay. Does it make sense now? Okay. So the creases, right? That's the popping crease, the bowling crease, the return crease. The two creases, right? Of late, bowling crease, nobody cares. It's just there because you can bowl from anywhere. It is the two creases, the popping crease and the return crease, that have some implication for runouts, that have some implication for no balls. And we'll go over it as we are going through that, right? These are the basic creases that are in play. Bowling crease of late is not relevant that much. Okay. Scoring, right? Runs. Umpire's role here is very limited. Call the boundaries, make a clear signal, right? Short runs, right? If there is a run shot, please let the scorer know the number of runs you're based upon whether it's, most of the times it's trying to take the second run, right? But there are times when there is 3 runs that are being done and both the second and third run have been shot. So make sure that you signal back to the scorer how many runs you're allowing after calling the short run in that particular ball. Now, here is another thing, right? As with most other in any league, right? We respect with respect to boundaries, fielder's call has to be respected. Umpire will be the final judge, right, of the call itself. And there are times that if the umpire feels it's unfair play and unfair call, he can have a chat with the captain and he can go on. But for the most part, right, what I wanted to say today is this, and I may get in trouble with Raju on this one, right? There is this notion that the fielder can call whatever he wants to call and everybody has to obey that. That's really not true, right? It is out of good intent and fair play that is what we are following, but the umpire can always override that if he feels that that was not a fair call and he's confident of that call. It's still an umpire's judgment, right? And for the most part, he's expected to, because he can't see it, it's not clear, and the umpire is that we respect the fielder's call as best as we can. Okay, that said, right, this is another piece, right? When a player is caught, there are no runs scored. If the player ever handled the ball and then he tries to run, there is no run, right? If the ball is hit twice, this is an odd one. If by any chance he's hitting it and it took it hit twice, you can call it a no run, right? If the bowler if the batsman hits his own wicket, typically it'll be a hit wicket unless the ball is dead or whatever. But there should be no run in any of those circumstances. I can't think of a scenario where he won't be out because he hit the ball hit wicket, right? The other thing for LECA, right? Right now you're only playing orange ball and tape ball in both of these leagues, no LBWs. And thereby, if it hits the body or the pad or anything first, then there is no runs that you can award for that play and you should immediately call it. There is, however, a rule here which says, yeah, batsmen can change positions and then that gets run out into play if they try to do that. And again, here again, umpire judgment call. If they start trying to take the run and they abandon the run in the middle thinking they'll get run out, it is out. You can't start trying to take a run and then decide that you won't do it. You have to ground the bat back and show the umpire you grounded the bat before your intent is dead. Right. The other thing is that if there is an intention of taking a single just to avoid being caught by the bowler or the fielder that's closed in, and you intercept that, then there is also a scenario where it can be called out. But more importantly, the umpire can override it and say there is no run. Okay. Some other basics, right? Over is 6 fair deliveries. 4 is a ball stricken across the boundary, at least bouncing or rolling. This should be no brainer on this one, right? No balls, dead balls, wide are not counted as fair deliveries, right? But again, no leg bites in LECA, ball hits the body or any contact, right? This is one other thing I wanted to call out. What's a dead ball and when a dead ball can be signaled, right? If the umpire feels that's an unfair play, he can call it a dead ball. Some intervenes in case of an unfair play and he can declare the previous ball dead. If he leaves his normal position, if the umpire goes off from his position to talk about something and some ball is delivered, he can immediately call it for whatever reason. Why anybody would try to deliver a ball in that scenario, I don't know, but that's what is written in the umpiring level 1 guidelines, right? But it's common sense to me. This is an odd one, right? And there are places where they have written this is a no ball, The umpire can go to the extent of declaring a no ball as when you are intentionally distracting the striker by moving, right? People say you can move towards the wicket, but you can move horizontally, and that can be declared a no ball, right? But that can also be declared a dead ball if the umpire fails and gives a warning, and then the next time onwards he can do a no ball or penalize the fielding team for doing that after the warning. The bowler drops or the ball is not delivered, that's automatic dead ball, right? Yeah, that's about it, right? The other thing is that this is odd ball. We don't use bails that much, but if after delivering the ball and before the ball actually is taken action or hits the batsman, the bail drops, then he can declare a dead ball. Really a hard call. Sometimes that would be an edge and the guy would be caught. But if you are playing with bails and technically if that bail drops and there was no contact of the ball, the umpire has the right to declare that a dead ball. And any dead ball, the ball has to be rebowled. This is the hard one for today. I think there is a lot of questions even that go on every time, right? And people can read it. I'm not going to read through each one of these bullets that is out there. But the most important one is that the bowler, if he breaks the stumps and delivers the ball, it's a no ball. But if he doesn't deliver the ball, it's a dead ball. So think of you bowling in an action. If you ever feel that you hit the stump with your hand, don't deliver that ball. Otherwise, it's a no ball, right? If you deliver that ball, it's a no ball. Okay. The above the head, the first ball itself is considered to be a no ball. The one other rule, and I don't know, Raju, here is where, right? There is a rule of 6 fielders on the leg side is a no ball, or 2 fielders behind the square of the leg is a no ball, right? The other one is in the rules. I don't know whether this is ICC rule. I just wanted to make sure people understand this. You cannot have 2 fielders, right, in fine leg and one close to the square leg on the left side of the umpire. That's considered 2 fielders behind, and you cannot behind the square leg. You cannot do that no matter what. That's a no ball automatic if you find 2 fielders in that zone. One other place an umpire can call a no ball is that if he finds one of the leg of a fielder is so close and it's on the pitch and he's actually putting a leg on the pitch, like forward short leg is so close that it's on the pitch, it's an automatic no ball. Fielder is not allowed to be on the pitch area. Okay. This is another rule. I know we have a lot of slow bowlers in the league. Ball bounces twice before reaching the striker. It is considered a no ball. It has to reach the striker with only 1 bounce. And if it falls twice, it's considered to be a no ball. Okay. Here is another thing that's in the dead ball. We even have, if there is a bowler out there that delivers the ball, but the ball never reaches the batsman, it's considered a dead ball, not a no ball. I don't know how slow of a bowler can be that the ball doesn't get there, but that's the rule. Okay. From a scoring perspective, for every no ball, there's 1 run that gets added, and plus whatever runs are scored, and the ball has to be bowled. This is another footnote. If the ball is no ball and wide, no ball negates the wide, which implies no ball always rules. If both of them occurred, then no ball wins that battle. Okay. Foot positions.
Rajesh, Can we have some questions, because this snowball thing is a very controversial topic, and I don't want to lose context. Are you okay to take the questions on snowballs, or do you want to wait?
Yeah, let me finish the foot ones too, right? And then I'll yield for a couple of minutes on that one, okay? Right?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Right. So this one, right? I've taken this picture from a New Zealand. Most of this is coming from an ICC level 1 and New Zealand. That's my reference. I will send you the reference. There's a big manual out there. I'll put a reference at the end of this slide deck so that you guys can see the full 40-page document if you ever want to ever go read it and you have the time to do it. Right. This is very clear to me as to what's a no ball and what's not a no ball. I'll call out a few things, right? It's always a fair delivery as long as the foot is behind the popping crease, right? In no matter how you look at this, right? It's also a fair delivery if the actual feet is landed behind, some part has landed behind and it moves outside the crease. It is the only thing that you have to look at in a no ball is where did the first time the front foot land, right? And this was the whole leg out at that point in time. Like if you look at picture number 4, the one on the second one on the right side, though it looks like the feet is outside, part of the heel is still inside, though it's in the air. That is still not a no ball. That's an okay ball, right? If you look at the last picture on this one, the guy actually landed inside with some feet forward, but by the time he delivered the ball, the feet slipped. And this happens when you are playing in turf pitches a lot. And that's typically not the no ball. What matters is where the first time the pitch landed and was any part of the feet on behind the line, right? Okay, so these are all there. One other thing that you can see, the third picture bottom to the left, the popping crease, right? If the front foot is outside the popping crease, it's okay. It's only the back foot that matters, right? The front foot can be anywhere. The back foot is all that matters from the perspective of no ball, right? You can see he is clearly that on that picture, I forget the crease name, man. I'm also not that written crease, right? If you really look at it, right, this guy has the front foot completely on the outside the written crease, but the back foot is completely inside, which is a legal delivery. Okay, so look at this picture a couple of times. Each of these pictures tell you a story, right? You can see that on the first picture on the top right, though the back foot, unlike the popping crease one, which is a fair one, see on this one also, there is no touching of the written crease. The back foot is still good because he didn't really touch it, right? And so he's fine. Though part of it is going out of that, as long as he's not touched it and the touching portion is inside, it's still good. Okay. Now, what's a no ball? Right? And this was a surprise to me. Look at the first one, right? If the bowler is bowling and somehow comes right in front and his leg completely passes across the middle stump, right? Though it's all looking legal, this is a no ball. He cannot bowl like that. He cannot come in front of the stumps and bowl it, right? Second one is that this is the most obvious scenario that we talk about. The entire front foot is outside the popping crease, and that's a no ball, right? Now you can see the back foot landed on the written crease. That's automatic no ball. If the back foot, this happens with a lot of spinners because we don't get too much spin. We try to keep on going wider and wider, and we really don't realize that our back foot is touching the written crease, right? So if it touches the written crease, that's it. But if it is lifted heel, then it's okay. It's not, as long as the heel, any part of that is not touching. right? This one, no balls. In touching the line is not good enough. Some part has to be behind the popping crease, right? A lot of people argue that I touch the line, I'm on the line. No, it has to be behind. Some part has to be behind the thing, right? So anytime the back foot lands, the last picture is also showing on the return crease, it's always a no ball. It doesn't matter where the front foot is at that point in time. Okay, whether inside or outside. These are the no balls, right? So now you had one or two questions. If you want, I'll just wait because this is a hard section. But go ahead, just one or two, please.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah.
This is Raghu, by the way. So one question is, if a bowler balls behind the stumps, if both his legs, I mean, the landing leg is behind the stumps, is it considered as a no or not?
No, it's not. It's a legal delivery. He can bowl from behind the stumps. There is absolutely no rule. That's what I said earlier on. That off late the bowling crease doesn't really matter. Earlier there used to be a rule that it has to at least cross, but right now there is no rule like that.
So it doesn't matter how far they are behind.
The only thing that matters is that the back foot doesn't touch the imaginary line of the return crease. That's the only thing that matters.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Nagesh, I have a question. This is Nanda from the Artificial Cricket Champions team. Is there any rule about the number of layers on seam to be taped on the ball?
No, I think from my perspective, I think that's what they're trying to avoid this time. I think the LECA is going to tape all the balls for everybody, is what I heard from Raju and the team. But that has no bearing on.
Correct. Yeah. The board is going to tape the balls and then give it to the tape ball things.
And that's prior to each match, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
correct.
So what we found last season.
Please check with your captain or vice captain. They know the rules and regulations around it.
So the board is going to have a uniform taper so that there is no. And the other thing that even if teams are taping, the idea is that you mix up all the balls so that you're not picking your own balls, right? Earlier on, as soon as you walk in, both the teams are supposed to give the balls to the umpire and mix it, right? So.
तुम पैसा भी दे रहे हो, तुम अपने पार्टी कर रहे हो, लेकिन
Okay.
Hello, this is Chendu from Highlands. I have a question.
Go ahead and mute yourself, boy.
Hello.
Yeah, whoever is talking, go ahead. Okay. Any other question?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, I have a question.
On the previous slide, you mentioned about ball over a batsman's head is a no ball. It's typically given a wide in the current rules, like
that is called a high wide if it is completely out of the reach of the batsman itself, right? I'll go through the wide rule. You'll see it, right? It's called a high wide. If the ball bounces in such a way that it is absolutely out of the reach of anybody's hitting zone, right? Then it's a high wide, right? But if the ball is still in the reach of hitting and it's above the head, it's a no ball.
That's a little subjective though, but
it's subjective. That's why I said umpiring, right? That's how they declare the high wide. It's a subjective. Again, it gets into real controversies, right? Because because this is where subjectiveness comes, right? I mean, the idea is you're penalizing for dangerous balls. You're not penalizing for really that are not, right? So if the bouncer is completely out of control, bad bounce goes way higher than anybody can touch it, then it's considered a high wide. Okay, but it has to be, it's still an umpire's call. That's why you're in the umpiring class. Okay.
Hi, this is Chendu from Highlands. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I am bowling from around the wicket, how many fielders are allowed on the leg side? And if I am bowling from over the wicket, how many fielders are allowed?
So this is an interesting one, right? Different. The idea is, including the bowler, you cannot be 6.
That means that only 4 fielders are allowed, including bowler. Including bowler, it is 5.
No, including the bowler, it is 6.
5 fielder, excluding
Bowler. Excluding bowler, it's 5 fielders.
come
So
again.
there is 2 rules: 5 fielders on the leg,
That's
and 2 fielders cannot be behind the square.
Yeah. So max 5 fielders, excluding keeper and the bowler, are allowed on the leg side.
exactly.
Yep.
Okay. What about if
Okay.
I'm bowling over the wicket?
Okay, so guys. Sorry to interrupt.
Same.
Can we first finish the deck and then we can take the questions? Maybe some of your questions.
Yeah, I was only
I'm covering
entertaining
it
questions
in
about
the
no balls
bylaws,
right now.
which would be able to clear all of them.
Okay, so I think that's clearly stated on the bylaws. I'm going to just finish off
Yeah.
that as the
Please
last
refer
question.
bylaws. We clearly
right?
stated, and I'm
But-
going to cover them in my slides, and I need at least 30 minutes to cover those.
Oh, shit, man, I need to give it to you.
Okay.
Okay,
So
we're
you are going to
almost
share
done.
the slide also, right?
I'll say it
Okay,
the slide.
then it's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so white balls, right? So the first picture shows you where one bat from the middle of the stump. That's where the black thing is. That's about white ball. Anything that is in the red balls are indicating that is in the zone of hitting. The biggest thing that you have to observe on white balls is this: the intent of the batsman before the ball is delivered, right? Before the ball has been completely delivered, if he moves, right, and he makes room to hit on down the leg or right, he's just moved that, right? And the white marker moves by the same amount of distance. If a batsman intentionally moves away from the wicket and a regular ball doesn't become a white ball, it's still in play, right? The piece that I try to teach most umpiring in white balls is that the line that is put out there is for imaginary. It is for you to understand that is the right place if the batsman had not moved heavily and he's playing from the stance in front of the wickets. But if he moves, the umpire has to move his judgment call based upon what the batsman is doing. Okay. And what does not count is batsman moving after the ball has been delivered. The only movement that counts is in the motion of the delivery, as long as the delivery is occurring. And once the ball is delivered, he could chase the ball as wide as he wants and go get it hit, right? And this is another judgment call that the umpire has to make. What was the timing of that movement, right? So this is one thing, right? High wide, as I said earlier, way above the head, out of the reach of the batsman. That's a high wide. That's not a no ball. Okay. And that's again a judgment call that the umpire has to make. Okay. Our guideline, wide line marker is one bat from the middle stump. Okay. Last slide on this wide and no ball stuff, which is trying to show you again clearly, right? What it's trying to show you: what's a no ball, what's a high wide, what's a above the waist full toss is always going to be a no ball, right? The last that's about for no balls and white balls. Appeals and umpiring roles, right? See, this is a very controversial one, and we get it all wrong a lot of times when we are umpires and we want to do the right thing. The judgment for the umpire on the bowler's end, right, is right if he wants to talk, the batsman is not coming back in time and he is timed out, caught behind, handled the ball hit twice, LBW, obstructing the fielder on the run, right, retired out. All these are bowler's end, right? The only place where the non-striker has is the hit wicket, the stump, and run out at its hand, right? But why we say this is this, right? The idea is that I'll give you a very classic scenario, right? Ball is bowled by a pace bowler. Everybody is claiming it's an edge. The keeper has taken the catch, right? The idea is that you consult the leg umpire if you couldn't see whether the keeper collected the ball or not. You don't consult the leg umpire to see if the ball hit the bat, because he is in no position to judge that. He can say, I heard a sound, I heard a magic, I heard whatever heck is out there, but that has no bearing the batsman still gets the benefit of the doubt because that noise could have been from anywhere. That could have been a player doing something, right? So be very careful. What I've heard a lot of times umpires saying is, I just wanted to know if you heard a noise. I'm like, dude, that's not in those cases, the benefit of the doubt actually goes to the batsman because you didn't hear anything. But if you couldn't see the keeper collect the ball, you can always ask, did the keeper collect the ball? Because sometimes the batsman may be in the middle of your things. So what is the leg umpire consulted for? What he can see, nothing else. And rest of it depends upon the umpire on the bowler. I hope I'm clear on that one, right? Because I see this all the time. Teams appealing, saying, go ask the leg umpire, it was a real edge, it was not a real edge, whatever, right? The idea is that the only thing that the umpire can consult the leg umpire is things that he cannot see. And the leg umpire has a better vision for that action. Okay. LBWs and leg buys, no LBWs in LECA, no leg buys in LECA. So we removed these two sections completely. The only thing I added here was that this rule sometimes has been abused by some batsmen who don't want to get out, and they intentionally and deliberately stop the ball in front of the wickets. If the umpire feels that there is deliberate padding involved, he can give one warning on appeal, and following that, it's his discretion to give it out or not out. Again, the idea of empowering the umpire on this one is to make sure that the game is fair. The game is not being unfairly taken away. And this becomes very, very subjective, and it is the job of the umpire to make sure that the game is fair play. Okay. That's it. And we try to keep it short. If there is any recommendations, any things that you want to send a review to, that's my email address. You can send me and I'll try to improve this. But Raju, it's all yours. Raju, you there? Hello? Raju?
Hey, sorry, one.
Yeah. I'm done. You can do it. And at the end, we can help people who are here to register as an umpire if I can walk them through at the end. Or do you want me to walk them through?
Yeah. If you can able to go to the next slide.
Yeah.
That will be great.
Yep.
Yeah. So team, in the next few slides, I'm going to run through quickly on the bylaws and just be mindful that everything I have been listed in the next few slides. Every single point has already been captured into the bylaws. So I'm just quickly running it over through you guys so that we will be mindful with the key points from the slides. And excuse me for some of the slides or some of the points are too lengthy. As whatever presentation I had prepared, at the last minute, the presentation was crashed and I couldn't manage to recover it. So I was doing it in the last 30 minutes before the call again, redoing it again. So I had to continue using the entire wording which is there in the bylaws. But yeah, let me quickly go through so that we will have some time for the Q&A. That is, as you guys know that as per the city ordinance, this is this ground is considered as a park. So as per the park rules, consumption of alcohol or smoking or public urinal is prohibited in and around the ground. So we are not just the park, we also have the rules of the school. So we are sharing the ground of the school. So please be mindful with that. And then there are subsequent penalties if anybody is being not following the rules, and umpires, please do note and then let us know so we can take actions accordingly. Then all the players and umpires must play to the spirit of the game, which we covered already. Then the basic rules, the major rules are ICC rules, but some of the rules we have overwritten, and please refer to the bylaws for any of the rules being overwritten. then bylaws rules takes precedence. Then umpire's decision is final, as we know. And in case of any doubt, the main umpire, before he giving his decision, we encourage him to contact the leg umpire, not after the giving the decision. So once you give the decision, just stick to it. Before giving the decision, if you have any element of doubt or other players or the bowling team or batting team were raising some concerns before you give a decision, if you have any element of doubt, just please consult the leg umpire before taking decision. All the matches should be played with the Little ELM provided either orange ball or tape ball. Orange ball will be one ball for match, and then in case if it is tape ball, then we will provide sufficient balls before the matches. We were letting you guys know that you guys can go to Pradeep and then collect the balls before the games. Not just before day, but we will. You guys can go in the middle of the week and then collect it. So these tape balls, the problem is we can give all the balls together, but the only problem is the tape doesn't last more than a week. And if we collect it more than a week before, then it will have no use. It needs to be retaped. Then winning team, the other rules is the winning team gets 2 points, and in case of no result, then 1 point will be shared, and then losing team awarded with 0 points. And top 4 teams from both the leagues will be qualified to play for the playoffs. The only difference is tape ball, we have only 8 teams, so the top 4 teams will directly go to playoffs of semi-finals and they play. Whereas orange ball, we have 2 groups and 16 teams. So top 4 from each group will be qualified for quarterfinals, and then from the filtered of quarterfinals will be semis and then finals. Then if any game ends up a tie, then we will go with the super over until the result is been made. That is, a super over will end up tying. A tie will lead to another super over, another super over. If that cycle continues until we have a possibility of play on that particular day. So if there is no possibility of any further on the particular day, let us say if the first team is having a tie, and then maybe after a couple of tie matches again and again, and then the second team is to second match supposed to start, or in the evening the sun is down, then you cannot do anything. Then we are not continuing that match, and the next day we will be the unfortunately points is to be shared. Then if any, then so the max overs is 20 overs, and as long as weather permits, otherwise it will be less than 20 overs, which will be decided by the umpires. You guys as an umpires will be deciding about it. First 6 overs are power play, and only 2 players are allowed outside. At any point in time, not more than 4 fielders. Minimum 4 fielders should be inside the inner circle, irrespective of the power play. And then on the leg side of the batsman, not more than 5 players can be placed. Nagesh Bhai, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So Nagesh has covered some of these points anyway. But yeah, so no LBWs, no leg before wickets, so no leg byes. But however, for the same ball, the players can take a run to change the batting striker, change the striking. So that means the runouts will still be considered. Can still be considered as out, and then or stumps are still be considered as out. Fielder substitute must be, any fielder is being substituted needs to be informed to the umpire as well as the opposition team, without failing which next ball will be declared as a no ball. Players within the team roster, players should be within the roster to be a substitute. So that is another thing, that is they cannot randomly bring somebody who is not in the roster to be a substitute. Fielders cannot wear any kind of gloves unless the temperature is below 50 degrees. Then maximum 4 overs for the bowler in a 20-over match. If less than 20 overs, let us say it is in due to weather conditions, whatever, we could able to run only 18 overs game, then it will be number of overs by 5, which would be 3 for 18-over game, and then you're left with 3 overs. Then you can attach 1 over to 3 different bowlers. That means 3 bowlers can bowl 4 overs, and then only 3 overs max can bowl 4 overs. Any no ball is constituted a free hit, and no ball rules we discussed already. If a bowler bowls second beamer in a match, then he will be deemed disqualified for bowling any further in the match. And then bowlers to declare guard, 1 warning will be given for the entire team, not for every single bowler. And then a repetition of another bowler or same bowler for the second time will be a no ball. If a ball bounces more than once before batting crease or goes out of the fielding play, that is the mat, then it is declared a no ball too. Next slide, please. Okay, so I think something else. So sorry. Recommended age to play the league is 16 plus years, and no gender restriction. So at the same time, no separate rules for the genders. Let us say if somebody wanted to play a female player, then there shouldn't be any separate rules. Like since female is playing ball, the slow balls, underarm balls, or something like that, there wouldn't be any condition like that. So it is up to the captain team, the team to decide whether they want to field anybody. But once the player is coming in, he is considered as a regular player who knows and who can play to the ability of the player. Then since the cricket ground is shared between the baseball and the school ground, it is the responsibility, we request batting team to play somebody close to the area where the non-cricketing, either baseball kiddos or people walking in the ground, if they were into around the area, then request all of your help to protect them from hitting the ball. The toss should be done 15 minutes before and then for the toss to qualify for a team, 8 members from the team should be available, and umpire is must. Match should start on time, and first ball should bowl on time. The max buffer time given is 10 minutes in the beginning of the game, not in the middle. And after that, for every 4 minutes delay, there will be 1 over reduction for the when the batting team is chasing, or if both the teams have less than 8 players, then the overall overs will be reduced accordingly. First, the overall play time for each innings is 100 minutes. That is 1 hour 40 minutes, and then 15 minutes of innings break, and then 5 minutes of the drinks break after 10 hours. Then delay in finishing first innings for every 4 minutes, they lose their over while chasing. At the same time, after the I think we can move on to the next slide, Nagesh. Okay. Then any physical altercation, anyone involved will be expelled for life in Little ELM Cricket Association. So umpires, please make a note of anybody who is into that situation. And then if more than 1 player from a team is involved in that altercation, then the entire team will be expelled. Any player playing with wrong profile will result in both player and the captain of the team with lifetime expel from Little ELM Cricket Association. Any team proved to be involved in ball tampering or tamping a broken ball will result with the lifetime expel from Little ELM Cricket Association. And then in case of catch being climbed, and then during the boundary line, if umpires couldn't manage to have a complete visibility of it, then they would have to check with the fielder. Fielder's call is deemed, irrespective of whether he's giving truth or not, a fielder's call will be deemed as final. And then, but umpires, if they still think that fielder is wrong, they don't believe in that fielder, they have a powers to override the decision or take a final decision on. But do not give a decision and then try to roll back. Balls are not used in the bails are not used in the matches. So the wicket to be considered or hitting the ball hitting wicket is considered only if it is a hard hit, and umpires are the final decision maker to say that whether it the wickets or not. In case of walkover, full points will be awarded to the opponent team, and then match will be declared as forfeited. Free clubs is the mandatory app we are going to use. So then I think that's all the major points I'd like to cover. And then if you have any suggestions, observations, best practices, please reach us. At the same time, complaints and grievances, we gave some contact numbers or emails over there. Please reach us over there. We will always be reviewing them and then taking the best practices to implement. And then any complaints, grievances, we will do the investigation and then take necessary actions. Now the chair is open for the Q&A. Thank you, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, Raju, any reason not to use bails in these matches?
Yeah. So the major reason is to avoid a lot of controversies happening in games like this, and then the wind factor. So because these grounds are on the cement and then turf, cement on the mat. So you would not have the proper way to stick the wickets on it. So we were always using the framed wickets, and on which bails doesn't act the way it's supposed to be. And Dallas is also too much of wind too, and we had observed in several matches that the bails were free falling before bowler releases the ball, and then it led to several controversies.
Okay.
Can a retired batsman come back to play again?
Yeah. So I think my slides are a little bit messed up, but yes, there are two ways he can come back. If the retired batsman was retired due to an ongoing injury, in the sense an injury has occurred after he has entered into the field on that particular day. During the course of the game, an injury has occurred, then he can come back after fall of the next wicket. But if any
Raju, you lost connection. Are you there? So I think what Raju was saying was, if he got injured and had to leave the ground, yes, he can come back. Otherwise, it's retired out.
Sorry.
Oh, now we can hear you. You broke off, Raju.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah.
So completed your sentence for you, right?
Yeah. So retired player, yes. If the player has been retired with an injury during the match, then he can come back after the fall of immediate wicket. Otherwise, pre-injuries are not qualified for coming back to play.
Otherwise, it's retired out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, can he come at the end of fall of all?
Nope.
All wickets, like can he be the last batsman?
Yeah, we have added one condition that he can come back only if the opposition captain approves. That approval needs to be taken during the time of retirement, not during the time of coming back.
I think that's a very subjective, man. So, but okay,
yeah,
that's what the rule is.
Either allow him to come back at the end of fall of last wicket.
Yeah. So
or not allow at all.
That is what we written. End of the match, even for end of the innings, he can if the opposition. See, we don't want to encourage, but some teams said, why can't we allow? And then some teams said, why shouldn't be allowing. So we said, okay, then the rule we have written at this time is only if opposition captain accepts. So during the time of retirement itself, we need to have that confirmation from it, not after falling 9 wickets and then he come back, I'm playing now.
So Raju, I mean, so I'm going to turn around and ask the question for the people, right?
Yep.
So 8th wicket down, right? The guy is hurt. The last man, they want to just give an over. He gets out. This guy can come back and finish the game.
Correct. That is what I'm saying. 8th wicket is down. 8th wicket is down, and then that player is retired. He needs to take that approval before he's deemed considering before he's walking out of the field as an.
Yeah, he's never going to get that approval.
Exactly. The no.
Yeah, exactly. So that is why instead of saying no, we wanted to have that clause.
Okay.
Yeah. So see, if I'm a captain, maybe I may accept it. I did it in my games. I don't really care about such things, but several captains are denied.
It's about the captains and also match situations, right, Raju? If you need 2 runs to win in 1 over, and you take the 9th wicket.
That is why I'm saying you don't take that approval after 9th wicket has fallen. You have to take that approval. See, most likely 9th batsman retiring, 8th batsman retiring out, coming back as 10th is, I would say, almost negligible scenario. Usually it happens with the first 5 down players or so. He needs to take that approval beforehand, not at the situation coming in.
No, I think it's better to have a rule rather than making it subjective for
Subjective, exactly.
Because it kind of confuses people, and it's hard to say no to anyone asking whether I can come back. Right, saying no is a difficult thing for anyone.
So based upon what Raju said, I'd walk out of this class saying, guys, right? Again, there's always going to be some subjective decisions that captains would like to do for whatever reason. But I think the rule is that unless injured, he is retired out, but for a mercy of the opponent's captain. Just leave it.
Absolutely. See, guys, on this topic, we had several rounds of discussions with captains in the past. And there were 2 sides of the coin too. So it's not, we couldn't manage to come to a complete conclusion. So we had gone with this intermediate approach.
Yeah.
So
okay, we can always alter that.
Nagesh.
Yeah.
I just want to request one thing, like if a guy is injured and if he can be allowed within that last 2 overs, will that be like
no, guys injured on the game, he can always come back immediately after the next wicket if he wants to.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Guy leaves because of an injury, right? An umpire says he's injured and he's leaving, great. Guys,
again he's injured during that particular match. See, let us say somebody is carrying injury from some outside before coming into the game, and then started playing and then saying that I'm injured now, I wanted to retire, then he is not qualified.
That is completely on the captain to declare that, right? Like opponents knows unless they are injured or not, nobody unless they find it out.
So I think guys, I mean, so I'm going to very simply say, right, Raju has put a lot of qualifications in here, right? If the umpire deems that the injury has happened while playing, he will allow the batsman back. If the umpire deems that the injury was not relative to anything that happened on the ground, he just tired or he's just retiring because he can't bat anymore, then he will not allow him to come out. It is
absolutely. So you guys as an umpires have that empowerment to decide about whether it is pre-injury or not.
So and it's I don't want to confuse anybody in here, right? I don't want to confuse anybody, right? I want to restate this rule as it stands, right? It's very simple. Right? If a person is deemed injured during the game by the umpire, he has the right to come back after the next batsman is down or any time later, right? In no other circumstance will he be allowed to come without the mercy of the other captain.
Okay, so it's an agreement between the captains, both the captains, like whether he
allowed. No. Agreement that has to happen. Again, Raju said it, right? And I wouldn't have even opened the door, but he opened the door to this. It has to happen when the batsman is walking out, not any time later. Before he
when he walks out,
the ground, the other captain has to agree that he can come back.
Right.
Okay.
So when he walks
Yeah,
out the ground, should he inform the umpire or both umpire?
No, he
and
should
batsman?
ask. He should inform umpire and say, will the other
See,
captain allow me to come back?
if any player is going out as a
Raju, let me
retirement,
handle this, right? Raju, I'll
Yeah.
handle this, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to handle this, right? Very straightforward. If he wants to retire, he will go to the umpire and say, I want to come back. Will the other captain allow me or not? The umpire will talk to the other captain and give him the decision. If you walk out right now, you're either retired out or you are coming back in because the other guys allowed it. It's the umpire's call.
And I guess the definition of injury here is not exhaustion, not dehydration, not
Not exhaustion, not dehydration. It has to be an injury that something hit, something fell, some kind of a thing happened in the ground that umpire believes that injury occurred on the ground.
correct. Kind of a physical injury.
Yep. Okay. All right.
It's not just injury, right? It also states illness, right? The bylaws. So what is considered as illness?
There is nothing that's considered as illness unless he starts vomiting. See, the idea is that if he starts vomiting in the middle of the ground, then you can consider that to be illness, right? Something happened, something he took. Or
See, it's not just because of the tidiness or anything, or just because he is a little bit dehydrated. Those are not the ones we will qualify into it. He is really in a condition that he cannot continue at that particular point.
Yeah, Raju, I mean, his question was, you added
That
illness.
could be because of.
I'm going to define the illness. Illness is very simple. He starts vomiting on the ground. Right? You don't know whether the injury is before or after. Right?
See,
then you give him a shot.
Illness is a very vague word. It doesn't just conclude to vomiting, right?
Yeah. So I'm giving you an example that may qualify because the umpire is seemingly good. You asked a question, I'm answering it. Right? I'm saying is because you may say injury didn't happen, but the guy all of a sudden started vomiting. And
yeah, I mean, see, my question is also very simple. If a player walks to the umpire and say, I'm ill or I'm sick.
No, that's not qualified. Then it's
no, that's not qualified. See, even a player comes to umpire and say that, hey, I can't walk and I'm feeling pain. Unless umpire really believes and agrees that yes, I really have that pain. Say again, you don't have a physical the medical representation there to confirm that, but it's all completely umpire's decision. If umpire believes it is an illness, a serious illness or an injury, then he has an empowerment to take the decision. If he thinks no, it is not qualified into that, it's basically based on your own judgment and common sense thing.
Yeah, guys. I mean, again, the extreme circumstances that Raju is talking about, right? Even illness means it has to be observable. It has to be something that is medical attention needed. That's what he believes, and that's when he will make the override, right? I think, Raju, you guys need to look at the word illness and probably give some examples into the bylaws next time when you edit it, because that's just a
we can always improvise on it, and the current bylaws for improvised version of last season's inputs.
We'll take this one.
We'll continue
take this one back home and do it. But I'm going to reword this again, basically saying something observable has happened on the ground for him to believe the injury was related to playing the game, and or illness playing the game is when he's allowed to come out, right? It will come back in. Otherwise, if they be just normal wear and tear, exhaustion, tiredness, none of these qualify. Then he is retired out. Okay.
And Raju, how many bounces do we permit per over?
One.
Is it one? Okay.
One about shoulder.
Okay. And I guess so to the no ball clause, can we also add a second bouncer as deemed no ball?
It should be. I mean, I already mentioned that.
I guess it is already there.
If you look at the slide deck, that's what I wrote, right? One no ball is allowed. I put that into the slide.
Yeah, even in bylaws, we covered that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there. I've written it clearly, right? I put the stars and I said what it means in the last slide. Okay. Any other questions?
Do we allow any by runners?
No by runners. that starts a whole another nightmare. What if he's injured? What if he's not? So the simple rule is no by runners.
So just to confirm, when a person wants to go out, retired, he just needs to inform the umpire. No need to inform the opponent captain. But if he wants to come back, the umpire can discuss with the opponent captain if he can allow or not.
Yep.
So opponent captain has to make that decision at that point of time. He cannot say, "I'll wait till the last over to make that decision."
If he cannot make the decision and he walks out of the ground, he's out.
Oh.
So one question, like Nagesh, like if the team that are coming to play, if they have a short of like players and later they are joining, like what is it like a criteria that you want allow?
The criteria I thought is in the bylaws. It's very straightforward. The number of minutes that he is late, he cannot be in action for that long. He has to field.
Okay.
Right. I mean, if he comes after 5, see, this is a hard one, right? Because what happens is that this is why a lot of people end up taking batting up front. And in all fairness, right, if only 8 players are there in the starting, the remaining 3 players should come in and report to the umpire. And then the umpire should say, you cannot come back into bat until that long, right? And if the team is up before that, it's all out before that. But I think that's very hard to implement. So 99% of the time, the rule is very straightforward. If you are 5 minutes late, then you wait 5 minutes before you bowl, bat, whatever that is.
Correct. So the rule we have put it in here is even when a fielder is taking a substitute, then the new rule we have implemented is maximum 3 overs or less. Let us say if the fielder is out for 1 over or 2 overs, then he needs to wait for those many overs before taking the bowling or batting. If it is 3 overs or more, then maximum 3 overs he should wait before he can bowl or bat.
Okay.
So not minutes then, it's by the overs, Raju.
Correct.
The max that because over. So let me rephrase what you just told me, right? Because this is bylaws. This is nothing to do, right? So bylaws are basically saying a guy comes in the 11th over, he cannot bat, right? That was what I thought. But now what you're saying is he can start batting from the 14th over.
Correct. But in the bylaws, exclusively we have not written for somebody coming late directly. We have only written for the...
Look, I'm very clear on this, right? I mean, you gave an explanation. I'm telling you how that's going to be interpreted.
No. Yeah, Nagesh, wait. See, in the bylaws, we have not covered the bylaw for if a player coming in late to the game for so many weeks, so many minutes.
That's the whole point, right? Now what happens technically is this, right? The way I stated that rule, that guy will never get to bat, right?
Correct.
You stated the rule in the bylaw.
It will be 3 overs, yes.
It will be 3 overs. That means I can walk into the game at the 11th over and I will be batting in the 14th over.
15th over.
15th over plus 3, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And as long as that is the rule, I'm good with it. But I just want you to understand.
Correct. As of now, that's the rule. Yes.
There are enough teams here that will end up saying that guy is finishing a DCL game at 12:30. It's okay. We'll play with 10 for 10 overs. Let him come. He'll back.
So Nagesh and Raju, we can take it offline. If there's something like that, we will think about it.
No. But
that is how the rule has been written at this time.
Tony, I understand that, right? But I'm just clarifying this for everybody's purpose. Who's there? 50 people, right? Right now, the way the rule stands is that it's 3 overs that he has to wait out no matter when he comes.
Correct.
Unless it's less than 3 overs. And I'm okay with that.
Correct.
Okay. Right? Everybody get that rule, right? As it's written right now.
No, what about fielding? Will we allowed to do the fielding?
Yeah, because after 3 overs, he's back in the game. The game is the game, right? He's getting penalized for 3 overs.
Oh, okay.
Right? Look, the game is the game, right? So once the rule states that he's allowed to do whatever after 3 overs, he can do whatever he wants to do after 3 overs.
Correct.
No. My question was, will be allowed to do the fielding immediately, but only can bowl after 3 overs. But
Absolutely. See, that rule is after coming back to field, he needs to wait for those many overs.
Fine. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
In case of reduced number of overs, what's the minimum number of overs we need to call it a game?
8 overs.
Okay.
8
And
overs
any
per side.
scenario, any bad weather scenario like rain interrupts the game?
Whatever it is, let us say in case of first team has finished 20 overs and then second team cannot play 20 overs, but the minimum overs, 8 overs, if they can play, then Duckworth Lewis comes into play and then target or results will be decided based on that. But 8 overs, both sides should be able to play 8 overs per innings, minimum 8 overs.
Okay.
So I see there are times specifically mentioned about the breaks, but with the current weather, I know teams are taking longer breaks or frequent breaks. So is this something umpire can make a decision? I mean, let them take breaks, or how does that work?
So from an umpiring perspective, it's straightforward. The umpire is only giving 1 hour and 45 minutes for the team to finish, and he will penalize it based upon the delay of the game, right? The number of hours less. And I don't know whether there are penalty rules right now, but the idea is
there are penalty rules. Please go through the bylaws. 1 hour 45 minutes, including 5 minutes break in the 10th over.
No. Okay, Raju, we need to answer the question the way it's asked. Right. So fine. His question is very straightforward. He's saying the game is delayed. So what's the penalty? Right? Okay, it's 1 hour 45 minutes. Do I stop it? Now, what's the penalty?
Yes, penalty. That's what I'm saying, Nagesh Bhai. Please go through the bylaws. The penalties have been clearly written. We have not captured everything into the presentation, but each and every penalty for each of the minute delay, what happens has been clearly written. For bowling team as well as batting team, or if both the teams involved, what happens?
So what we'll do is I'll take an action item here, guys. I will take that particular rule, update the slide deck before I distribute it. Okay. Just so that everybody has.
No, that's okay. Nagesh Bhai, bylaws have been updated. Let them go through the bylaws and come back if they have any questions.
Okay.
You don't need to update the deck for everything.
Okay.
Okay.
No, my question is, delay is not because of any team specifically. Like you said, after 10 overs, we take 5 minutes break. But now with the weather conditions, the players want to take break 2 minutes or 5 minutes break after 5 overs. So that delays the game. So
no,
that's not allowed, right?
That's not allowed. See, unless it is more than 104
even for
degrees.
The afternoon game, guys, not allowed because it's like 100 degrees plus, right? Like in the afternoon, even though.
Okay, guys, let me rephrase it from an umpiring perspective, right? The captain's responsibility is to finish his game in 145, right? So we are only suggesting these breaks so that people can take the breaks and honor the breaks and get it done. But the idea is not that it's hot and I don't have to honor the 1 hour 45. The job of the captain is to get his innings over in 1 hour and 45 minutes. Right? And so just let's get this straight. It has nothing to do with umpiring. Right? The umpire will penalize based upon what the captain is doing, but the job of the captain still remains the same. It is 1 hour 45 minutes to finish your innings.
Okay.
And that's what I said upfront in umpiring, right? The umpires and the captains set the tone, right? And the captains have to take the responsibility of completing their innings in time. It's not the umpire's job to make these teams play. If they don't, they'll penalize them. But the idea is the captain needs to push his team to get it done in 1 hour 45 minutes. Right?
You mean the fielding captain?
The fielding captain, yes.
One quick question, Nagesh. So you said that all umpires will have to attend this LECA seminar. So how would you track that? Like, would you track who all have attended?
So yes, I mean, I'm looking at whoever has joined right now. I took some
So Nagesh Bhai, about 30 minutes back, I had taken screenshot of 57 people when the peak strength was there.
But what I would suggest to everybody on this call, send an email saying you finished this class to either Tony or Nagesh, right? And we will make sure that
some of the guys joined through the different avenues. Those names were not displaying. So I think helping us. I think if you guys say you are in and then in the maybe chat window in and then your name, that would be really your name and team.
I
that would be
think
great.
here is Tony. I'll make it easier for everybody. That's my email address, guys. If you're on this call, just send an email. Again, it's honor system, guys. If we can't even figure out how to be honor system even in this, then I don't know how we're going to honor a fair play, right? So just drop an email to this, and then we'll tell you how to register as an umpire and certify it. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, we will send an email.
Yeah. So I put the screen on that. Just drop an email to that, and I'll take care of making sure I work with Tony and LECA board to capture everybody's and then report it back.
See, the goal is, see, again, just like that, right? We don't think it's like a leak. It's like our leak and how to make it better, right? So one of the things which was common complaint was like, hey, umpiring was not consistent, right? Some of the things we thought like umpire. So we thought about educating that and LECA rule. Going forward, anytime you have questions or bylaws and everything, Raju will be accessible. If Raju is not accessible, Pradeep will accessible. If Pradeep is not accessible, somebody from the board will accessible. Right, so we will get contact of it, and this deck will serve as a reference. And bylaws you have, we'll upload the bylaws also in that what do you call Cricket Club, so you can every player can download it. And so the only reason is the better the umpires, better the quality of cricket for everybody. So, yeah.
So if any more questions?
Hey, but Raju, sorry, it's a minor thing and stuff for that. So. I don't know if you covered or not. I don't know if Pradeep is there or not. But if you guys have umpire duty and if you decide to make a change, first of all, if you swap with some team, you need to inform us, right? So, but remember, simple thumb rule: you cannot umpire in the same league you play in group. Like for example, Orange Ball have group 2 groups, Group A, Group B. You cannot umpire a Group A in a Group A if you're part of Group A, or if you're part of Group B, you cannot go Group B, right? Same thing, tape ball team cannot do tape ball. So if you get a request from them, first of all, it should come to us and inform us that, hey, somebody's going up there. Without our permission, should not be happening. Okay. Second of all, if you're asking for it, make sure you ask for a team which is not playing in that league, that group, or whatever you want to call it. So please respect that, because it could cause a lot of problem. That's the reason we try to Group A do Group B do tape ball do Group A. So we're trying to reverse that so that there's no issue contention up there. So please make sure you do that. And if you have question about umpiring changes, please let Pradeep know and he'll take care of it. Sorry, it was off track, but so we don't have issues like that in future. So we had one instance. So
that's a very good point, Tony. Thank you for covering.
Agree. So what is the mail ID we need to send a mail? This is the one?
Yeah, I just put it on the screen. Just send it to you. And I'll work with Tony and these guys to make
it. On the presentation, for confirming your presentation, email to that, and then on this last slide, you have further more emails. If you have any suggestions, best practices, complaints, anything during the course of the fall league, please feel free to email to the Little ELM Cricket on the addresses given.
So
can you post this email ID in the chat so it will be easy to copy?
So what we'll do is Nagesh put in the both group tape ball and Little ELM group.
Oh, I'm putting it in the chat right now, and then I'll put
put in the group also so they have that.
Yeah.
Again, guys, if you have feedback, let us know, right? It's again, I always tell them that this cricket field is like everybody's field, right? It's not me, you. If you're thinking you just want to play and stuff like that, it's great, but we want everybody to be part of it, right? So we can always improve if we can have talk to each other and talk. If you have any feedback of this umpiring, this thing, let Nagesh and Raju know what you have done and how we can improve it and stuff, or things which you are not covered. Let us know and we'll cover it in future up there. But I'll tell you one thing, and please pass on to everybody in your teams and stuff, because captain, umpires are human beings. They will do mistakes, but one umpire made a decision. It's final. Let's not. I understand they can do mistake and stuff. It can happen, but be respectful for that. Last year we had some incident happen which was not for the cricket, not only for our league or any kind of cricket and stuff. So please respect that. If you have challenges up there, let us know in later on, and we'll make sure we'll do that. And that's the only reason Nagesh and Raju spent some time making this PowerPoint, so we can help all of you make sure the quality umpire comes up who have basic knowledge, and make sure that they do it. Otherwise, trust me, man, I'll come to umpiring every day.
Okay, one last thing, right? If you guys have time, I'll show you how. Okay, that's fine. We'll send you the instructions as to how to register as an umpire too. Okay. Once I
Okay, so we cannot do it now.
I can do it now if you guys have the time because
Nagesh, just walk through it, please. Just
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
through everybody and stuff. In fact, if
Okay,
people have computer
so-
access, they can do it. In fact, they can do it right now. So the people who
Yeah,
have already done the
so-
interview, they can do right now.
Yeah. So
Finish it
guys,
off, man.
look at fields manager. I'm just log out. Okay. So I'm going to just go to fieldsmanager.com. I'm sure people who have been reserving slots have gone there, right? If you are signed up, that's great. If not, just sign in with your Google. I'm just going to do that for now, right? It'll automatically sign you up to the platform. I'm just going to go and sign in into the platform, right? Once you come in here, there is a place called Manage Services on the top right corner. Click on that, right? So here it says Manage Your Services. You pick cricket, right? Select the service that is umpiring. Right, for now, because I'm already signed, I'm just going to delete myself. I'm just deleting myself just so that I can do it from scratch for you. So click umpiring, then click LECA, right? And sign up for service. So you will see a status pending. As soon as you see the status pending, you're done. The support team will look at it first thing and then just approve everybody that has signed up based upon the board's approval saying, yep, he has finished the test. Today's everything that comes in today after this class right now will automatically get approved tomorrow morning. Okay. That's as simple as it gets to sign up. Then what happens is that once you sign up, anybody who's actually requesting for an umpire, you will see it. If you go to your dashboard, you will see the service requests. Once you decide to sign up as an umpire, right, you will see you can start doing umpiring for other people or bid it or whatever you want to do. And any service request that you guys post to umpiring, if you are ever asking for umpiring, you can see it in your service request page, which you have requested. Anything that you're trying to do help another team, like you're trying to go to for Raju's team Raiders, then you will see it. And if Raju's team says, yep, I got it, then you can go and umpire their game, right? If that makes sense. But the whole idea is that we understand that teams will be looking for third-party umpires, and if you ever volunteer and you decide to do it, then there is an economic value and you can actually charge. But right now, just become an LECA certified umpire so that you have the opportunity to do so. All right. Does that make sense, Raju, Tony?
Yep, thank you.
Yep, just everything that has been signed up today, right? Again, I will do it once more just so that people have it. Just sign in, use your Google. It doesn't have to be anything. Go to Manage Services, right? I'm just going to delete myself again. I'll approve myself tomorrow. Select the sport. You should not see anything. Select umpiring. Select a LECA member. You can select, if you're already DCL certified and TCL level, you can also select those. Not that it matters, but sign up for that service. You will see it. You will see your status as pending, and we'll approve it as soon as we see it. Okay.
I have updated it. Like if you can check it.
Yep. I am not the super admin. The support team is the super admin, but I will check it. Okay. Because again, I don't have the rights to do it myself.
I don't see the option to choose LECA member. So is that something I need to do something?
No, you should see that. Did you pick cricket and umpiring?
Yeah, I did.
What do you see?
I just see those two fields.
No, you should see select certifications on the right side.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Again, anyone else from
Nagesh.
your team?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Raju.
Yeah,
so we just
sorry.
need to, everyone has to sign up as a LECA member for the service. Is what you're saying for
I
umpiring?
mean, so we are keeping a track of it. We'll keep it at different places. We'll also keep a track. This is primarily to start assigning yourself. If you really want to do umpiring for not just your team, but you want to do it for other teams, then this will help. Right. That way, there is a place where when people need umpires in the last minute, we can reach out to and say, do you want to do umpiring, because we really need an umpire out there. Right.
Got it. Okay.
But if you really are certified, we will keep a track of you. There are two things that is helping today, right? First thing is we have a digital record of you actually completing it, and we will maintain a different place. If you just want to do it for your own team, then you never have to bid on anything. You just are there as a member that we have recorded that you are certified, and you can help anybody you want in the last minute if they need your help, right? That's how we're looking at it. Okay?
And how much is it for the help? Like,
so the way it works right now is that when anybody asks they can put in, right, the way the service requests work, to be very honest, when they're requesting, they can say, I'll pay $75. And then when you respond back, you will get paid $75, right?
Okay.
Right. Or they can say, hey, tell me how much you want, and they can name you, and you can name a price, and you can say it's $100. And if he wants to still pay $100, you do it. If not, he doesn't accept your bid. Right. It's empowering you guys, right? It's not about anything on the platform. The idea is that that's a transaction between you and the person who wants to do umpiring. If you are the requester, you can either choose to say, I will pay so much and I will not pay anything more. You want to apply. Or you can say, just tell me how much you want. I'll pay it because I'm that desperate. It's your call when you put the request out. Right. You can go to any slot out there. Right. And if you really look at it, right, I can go pick any slot out there and I can request umpiring. What happens when I do that? Right. It will do it. But you can put a fill play and you can click the fixed price on this one, and that's it. Right. And nobody else can change the price. Anybody who wants to bid on it will have to pay you that much money. That's what it amounts to, if that makes sense. Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
This applies for our games, for LECA games, and even for the rest of the games as well, right?
No, we are not. I mean, we will try to work with other leagues right now, but right now we are only working with LECA very closely on this. The other ones, there is another whole dimension to this, right? We won't stop anybody from using it, but we are not actively working with anybody else.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, because others are also visible in that, right?
Yeah. So we wanted to make sure that we want to know if you're okay. So just candidly, I have teams in DCL and I have teams in LECA, and if there is a guy who signs up for DCL and I'm really looking for an umpire, I don't mind asking you through this platform, right? That's how I see it. It's really your call.
Absolutely.
Okay. Make sense? All right. That's all for today. If there is no other questions, Tony, Raju, you want to do a final words?
Yeah, thank you everyone for taking your time out. I know you might have wondering why this session is needed and the other leagues were not doing it. We wanted to make a difference. We wanted to make sure that our umpires know what they are empowered of and what they can do, what they can't do, where they can involve, where they can stay out. And we want, if the umpires are knowledgeable and they are really running the game, that is, they are the captain of the entire game, so they can let it go in either side, and anything which is going out of control and somebody is abusing you or trying to not playing the spirit of the game, every observation you may make on either side of the game, you could able to make you then please feel free to make a note of it and send us the feedback or suggestions or whatever the complaints grievances. And then in case of any complaints we will be receiving from any team, let us say complaining on the other team, other player, other captain, anything, you guys will be the captains. We will be from the board. We will have to investigate and then take the actions as necessary. But for us to be able to do that, you guys are the only options we have to go back and check with you. to see, hey, what do you think? What is that? What happened? What is your observations on the field? So both the umpires, based on your observations, your report, we will be taking our analysis to take an actions accordingly. It can be positive, negative, whatever it is. So some captains may not be happy with it, but we don't care about it. As long as you guys are really making those notes and then helping us to take better decisions to make Little ELM Cricket Association look better on and off field, that would really appreciate. And you guys are going to be the major backbones for us to be able to run the league at the utmost spirit.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking all your time out.
Yeah.
I know we exceeded more than scheduled time on a weekday. All of you are working on your own day jobs. So as we thank you, Nagesh Bhai, for scheduling the meeting, preparing the material. And I had a hiccups. I could able to recover it quickly, but yeah, all of us, including the board, Nagesh, everybody, we all have our own day jobs. All of this, we are doing it voluntarily. And so as you guys, the 2 hours you guys have spent here is a volunteer stuff too. So please help. You learned something. You may have some more feedback. Feel free to reach us on the channels we have given, and we will make Little ELM Cricket better in entire DFW.
Yeah. Hey, and I just want to add to it. Thank you everybody for coming and thank you for joining, man. It's not somebody's league or this league is everybody's league. And this is the feedback we got from everybody that umpires look better. So we did this thing. So if anything you want to see improved, call us, man. Tell us, be part of the solution, man. And we always want to work with you. So thanks everybody for coming. Thanks Nagesh and Raju for taking lead.
Sure. And one thing I forgot to mention, if you really realize the subscription, we never asked you how we pay you if you're going to do it. That's the reason why I didn't want to approve. People will call you to make sure that we know how to pay you also, right? That needs to happen, but that cannot be on a public forum. Okay, right? Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You guys will be sending the recording, right? Recording link in the chat?
Yes.
Saale Tarun, तेरे लिए pop quiz है रे. याद रख सब कुछ.
आजा.
Yeah.
अभी करेंगे.
And then also if any more enthusiastic umpires on top of the people joined today who wanted to be part of the Little ELM Umpiring League, umpiring roster, I think we can definitely, depending on a demand or number of people availability, we can plan for a ways of covering them as well for this session to make them qualify for umpiring.
Yep. Thank you so much, guys. It was my pleasure today to be here. Appreciate it as always.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great good night and rest of the week.
Thank you.
And all the best for the teams playing on this Sunday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Thank you.